if you want Hasso and S2, I guess you can join in a little bit. We could talk a little bit about the story aspect of the 2 new characters they added, because I've been seeing a lot of questions about them in the community. So before we begin, I just need to say that this video will contain spoilers, not just for the story of Langrisser Mobile, but also for the story of Langrissers 1 through 5, as well as Reincarnation. So first I'm just going to get Helena out of the way. Helena is very simple. She is one of the 4 generals of the Regenberg Empire, who are the bad guys in the second story. So we have, I believe in Global, we have met one of them, which is the Pyromaniac guy. And aside from that, she's just one of the other generals, and she is in Glory faction because it says that she is one of the few honorable generals. So she's basically like Camus from Fire Emblem, where she's like the honorable bad guy.
I mean, it sounds like she's Landford.
Or Lanford, yeah. She's like Lanford. I mean, Regenberg and Langrisser 4 and 5 weren't really evil either, so... Yeah.
Her design reminds me a lot like Erica, I'm not gonna lie. Erica from Fire Emblem.
She's Erica from Fire Emblem with bigger assets.
Yep. Holy shit.
So, okay. Alright, so let's talk... Okay, but I think the story aspect that people are really curious about is Boomer Lando. First off, Hasso, you and I have both played the original Langrisser games, so we probably know a little bit more about the lore of Langrisser than I think a lot of people who only have played mobile, which I believe includes S2. S2, you haven't played the original Langrisser games, right?
Nope.
Alright, so Boomer Lando is actual Landius. This is Landius for real. So the Landius we have met so far is just like a memory from the Langrisser or whatever. This is the actual living, breathing Landius. I mean, obviously the one we summon is probably going to be the memory of the old Landius, but the old Landius is a character in the second story who is literally the same Landius from Langrisser 4.
Right.
So
they've done that before, actually. With that was kind of the whole Trails in the Sky. The whole event storyline of that was basically, here are the actual Trails in the Sky characters, but they have to go back to their world, but they have left these sort of impressions with everyone, these memories that then you can summon.
Yeah, it's just the gotcha excuse for why we have a billion characters coming out of a sword. So, old Landius, or Boomer Landius, so the reason he lives so long is because he's part of the Crimsonian race, who is like Rainforce, but he is not. He's not like of the royal. Yes, moon people. Taste like cheese, talk like people. There is a subset of Crimsonians called Crimsolanders, who were basically banished from Crimso a long time ago, and they lived on the world of the actual world of, I believe I forgot the name of the world. I believe it's Gaia, right, or something.
I think it's something generic like Gaia. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's the reason Landius can live so long, as well as Emily, who is Knight of Mystery. Knight of Mystery is Landius' sister. They are both Crimsolanders, so they can live a really long time. Landius, the backstory for old Landius is basically that this is a very interesting part. So we know that he gave up being the Guardian of the Kingdom, which is what Emily is doing now. So after that, he decided he just got kind of jaded from living so long, I guess. So he went to the north to protect the World Tree, and this is the part that really like makes me scratch my head, because I haven't been following the Chinese story that much, but apparently the World Tree is Listel.
Spoiler alert.
I'm already lost.
Yeah, so basically the backstory for old Landius is that he's lived a really long time. He's really jaded and like emotionless. He's like Bran from Game of Thrones. He's like, he just stares off in the distance.
Oh my god!
He just stares off in the distance and be like, "Humanity is pointless." It's like,
it would be much more fitting if Boomer Landius was on a horse. That would make him more like Bran because he's disabled.
Yeah. Yeah, well, at least you'd have more reason to be a little jaded, because I believe Langrisser Mobile's storyline takes place 150 years after Langrisser 5, so Landius is getting on in his years, whereas Bran is still just a little... He's just a boy.
Yeah, the implication is that Landius, after... because he's lived so long, he's seen all his friends die, he just kind of became really cold and distant from his humanity. So he just sits in the north and predicts the last friend. Well, I guess the last friend that he knew, which is Listel. And the other question I guess the community has sometimes is, what is the canon ending for Langrisser 4? Like, which girl are we supposed to ship Landius with? So let's get into the shipping war. So I believe what they're doing in mobile is that they are keeping it vague enough so that you can sort of insert what happens at the end of Langrisser 4. I mean, we know that the independent ending of Langrisser 4 is the quote-unquote canon one, because that is the only one where Listel survives, I believe. And that's also the ending they used for Langrisser 5 story.
Right. Well, I mean, it wouldn't have to be canon that she survives in so much as, you're just summoning memories. Like, I don't think Lance survives Langrisser 1, but he's still summonable. But
Lance does survive Langrisser 1 because he has to survive, otherwise he can't bang Narm.
Oh, that's right. Was it Letitia maybe dies? Something like that.
I believe Letitia does.
Yeah, I played some of Langrisser 1, but I did not get all the way through that. I was playing the War Song version, and it was a little rough. So yeah, I think that they have done enough hints at the fact that Landius and Listel are together that even if they're trying to leave it open or anything, they're definitely putting a nod toward Landius ending up with Listel. I know Trisket did a big video on Matthew's parentage and connected a bunch of things together where Matthew has a lot of the same accessories, same clothing and stuff as Landius does. And he's supposed to be part demon, so that would probably come from Listel.
Yeah, it's all but outright stated that Matthew is either the son or some kind of distant descendant of Landius and Listel. That part is not the vague part. What I think is the vague part is, when did Landius get with Listel? Because either if this is why I say they're leaving it open, either you can headcanon it as like Landius and the Landius/Listel ending to Langrisser 4 is canon, if that's what you want. Or you can assume that whatever ending you want to Langrisser 4, like whichever girl he got with, is canon. But because Landius lived for so long, they died way before he did, and then Listel was the only person left over. So he was just like, okay, well, it's I guess I'll take you now, Listel.
It's kind of a darker interpretation. Just like, well, everyone else is dead. I guess we're doing this.
Yeah, you live for a couple centuries, you get lonely, okay? Yeah, I do like what they did with Landius here. That's one thing I've always wondered at the start of this game was like, okay, so one thing that kind of annoyed me in the first story is just like, okay, we don't know anything about what happened to Kal'Zath, even though that's one of the big plot points in Langrisser 5. You learn about it a little bit in Claret's Gate of Fate, I believe. But at least this time they're actually making it part of the main story.
So he's chilling out with Listel up in the north?
Pretty much, he's just protecting the tree.
And Listel is literally a tree.
That is what the site says. I'll post like a screenshot of it. Like,
that's weird. It reminds me of Soka and the Moon Point.
This is always really... See, the reason why this sticks out to me so much is like, if you were gonna pick one character in Langrisser to turn into a tree, why would you pick Listel over Lambda, who literally has tree cells? Yeah,
exactly. Lambda makes more sense.
Yeah. I guess it's for like the whole the drama part where it's like he's protecting the person he loves or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And another thing that Trisket pointed out in her video was the Boomer Landius version has a necklace, and that necklace is actually one of Listel's earrings.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I actually did not notice that. That's very cool. Yeah, it's like a lot of really cool attention to detail, but a lot of homage to the Langrisser story by the devs here. Contrast that with what they did with Ares' Gate of Fate, where they just like they're dunking on Ares the whole time in his Gate of Fate and talking about he's like a Gary Stu or whatever.
He's a proud dragon sky. Come on.
Proud dragon sky.
Everyone knew that term immediately upon reading it.
All right. And do you have any questions left over about the story? As to we can try to answer them for you. You could be the audience surrogate who knows nothing about Langrisser story.
Okay. Are you guys caught up in the Chinese server?
I am not. Like my Chinese account is only like level 30 right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just wondering what Matthew's reaction to Boomerlandius. Like, where the hell are you? Like, you know, like, where have you been, father?
Well,
this is one of those plot holes. The question is whether Matthew is actually Landius' son, or if he's just like a descendant of some kind. But there was like a CG image of Matthew standing with Landius while Emily looks on, and in the game files, it's actually labeled as father and son. So I think that sort of lends credence to the theory that Matthew is literally just Landius' son.
right.
But it's like, if that's the case, then that means like 18 or 19 years ago, Landius went over to Elsalia and banged Listel over there. And then had Matthew and then ran all the way back to the west, where Listel turned into a tree.
Okay, well,
and then Listel...
it's all because of amnesia. This is like some sort of drama, so probably amnesia was involved or something.
Yeah, the only thing that makes sense to me is either Matthew is a distant descendant of Landius, or Matthew is actually a lot older than he thinks he is.
Right. Well, there's a question of if Matthew actually even knows that he's his son yet. Like, it might be an image of the father and son, but maybe Matthew doesn't even know that he is.
Oh yeah. I think in
yet.
the story, Matthew doesn't know like whether or not he is descended from Landius.
Yeah. And Matthew's sword is actually Landius' sword as well. So it was either passed down through the generations or just literally Landius was like, "Here's this baby, and I better leave my sword with him."
I mean, in the description, it says that Boomer Landius like rejects violence now, which, you know, it's why they designed his character like that. He's like he rejects violence and he doesn't really care for fighting anymore, which I guess makes sense that he left his sword behind. But
left his sword behind and developed sweet wizard powers.
Maybe. See, this is why making Listel the tree like introduces so many questions. It's just like, okay, if I guess like if he gave his sword to Listel or something and then went to protect the world tree, that would make some sense. But that's not what happened. Apparently, Listel became the tree, and he's protecting her.
And then Landius has gone so long without getting any that he turned into a wizard.
Pretty much, yeah. Hopefully, they'll explain some of these questions in the story. I mean, like I said, I'm actually not up to date with the Chinese story, so I don't know a lot of the details here. Maybe we'll get some of them as the story progresses. All right. Anything else you want to know as to?
Are we gonna have a tree version of Listel?
Well, there is a tree lolly character of some kind, so I don't know what's up with that. Is that like Listel reborn? Is that like a young Jessica of Listel?
Young Listel.
She's a tree lolly now.
No, his name would literally, her name would literally just say Yggdrasil. Like
Iglistel, maybe.
That's a good idea. By the way, as far as like Sage Landius goes, I'm very curious what they're gonna name him in the global version, because, for example, Young Jessica is actually not named Young Jessica in the Chinese version. I mean, Young Jessica was an obvious name to give her, but she was named something completely different in the Chinese version. So I'm very interested in seeing what they're gonna do with Boomer Landius' name.
So what was her name in the Chinese server then?
So Young Jessica's official like character name in the Chinese server is like Goddess Incarnate.
Ah.
Because she's not just like a young Jessica. She's like the ultimate Jessica. You know, that's why she's stronger than like the R Jessica, because she's like the goddess reborn.
Right. Because she's supposed to be like after Elwyn killed Lucius, then kind of Lucius essence got all in a Jessica, and
she's Jessica the White. You know, she's like I've come back
again. Okay, no one gets your reference, but from Lord of the Rings.
What? Everyone gets that reference. Anyone who doesn't get that reference needs to go away.
Yeah, how can you be playing a fantasy game and not have watched Lord of the Rings? Okay, you are not worthy.
I mean, we might have some like Zoomers.
If there are Zoomers playing this game and they have not watched Lord of the Rings, you should go see them. They're like the best fantasy movies ever made.
Don't watch The Hobbits.
Okay, let's not talk about movies anymore.
Okay.
Esther, do you have any questions about Langrisser?
Let's get back on topic. So, since in canon, right now, Listel is a tree and Boomer Landius is a boomer.
Okay.
What about Lolly Bozo? Is is Lolly Bozo like? Is Bozo right now a Lolly?
Okay,
or
so
is he just?
okay, so the reincarnation characters, Ares, Maya, they are from a different dimension basically, because the story of reincarnation does not take place in the same universe as the one that Mobile takes place in.
Right, and like even in the same like the mainline series, the Bosels in all of them aren't the same person. It's more like a title than an actual recurring character. So, you know, there's some crazy evil demon man that gets chaos powers and he becomes a Bosel. Like Altamir actually became Bosel and wasn't even a demon. So it's just a title mostly.
Yeah. So in Reincarnation, just to clarify, Reincarnation was an attempted reboot of the series. It only acknowledged Langrisser 1 and 2 in its story. So 4 and 5 did not happen. 3 might have not happened in that story as well. Even though 3 is a prequel, it did not mention any of the things in 3. So it might have been that they were just ignoring 3 and considering it not canon.
Yeah, and in that, the Licorice Bosel character is actually Ares' sister.
Right, Ares' sister is, I just happened to decide this time Bozel will be a cute girl. They gotta go for that gender equality. Women can be evil masters of darkness too.
So, what's so special about Ares that makes him able to control the Alhazar?
Okay, so this is
power.
So this is going to be spoilers for the Reincarnation game. So Ares is actually, oh no, for all those people who are very excited about going back and playing Reincarnation. Ares is a descendant of God, what was I forgot the guy's name? The Dulce's Emperor.
Oh, Digos?
Yes, he's a descendant of Digos. So he has like the blood to like wield like Alhazard in him, and he also he was also chosen by Langrisser, I believe, so he can wield both swords.
I guess he's a Gary Stew.
I think they were just trying to like tie it back into like Langrisser 1 by having the character be like the descendant of someone evil or the descendant of the evil emperor. I guess that's not like a very uncommon trope. You know, to their credit, they actually did do a lot of different routes in that game. You could do the Empire route, you could do Glory route, and I believe there was an Independent and a Dark route as well. So
like Elwyn.
Yeah, everything I hear about that game is just negative though, so I have never checked it out.
The story was okay. I mean, the story was like they put effort in it, but like wow, the graphics did not make a good first impression. The map design is really bad, and yeah, it's just the music from it is like basically the mobile music. They literally used the Reincarnation music in mobile. Like the remixes of Langrisser 1 and 2 songs I'm pretty sure are just straight from Reincarnation. Any other questions as to for this lore section of the video?
I mean, nothing relevant about. I mean, I think Helena's a mystery character for me.
Helena is an original character, so she's just like an original character created for mobile. There's not much to say.
Oh, okay, then I guess we don't have to talk about her side story.
Yeah, she's just. I mean, they do try to make their own OC donut steals like Zerida and whatnot. Release Sissy White.
All right.
Any final thoughts you guys want to add on this new patch?
Justice for Sigma.
How about you guys too?
I'm excited for Parakia. I want to build her actually.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Zalon, stop holding back on the 3Cs. Give better 3Cs to all the characters. They deserve it. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, Hasso. We really appreciate it.
Yep, glad to be here.
All right. We'll see you guys next time then.
Ciao.
All right.